Boxing has a quirky way of scoring. It's round by round, and unless there's a knockdown, it's just 1 point per round.
Yeah.
So sometimes you could see at the end, you go, fighter A won. But when you break it down round by round, you go, oh, I guess it was 6-6.
Wishing you nothing but the best. Everybody believes you're a rising star, and I hope it proves true. And thus far, you're doing your thing. Congratulations to you.
Some people maybe don't. How good is Shakur Stevenson in your opinion?
He's not good, he's great. And I think tomorrow the world will take notice how great he is. There's a reason why certain fighters didn't want to take the chance to step in the ring with this fighter.
Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman each pointed out how Stevenson's speed and sense of rhythm stood out, emphasizing that he looked sharp, fully in control, and decisively ahead of Teofimo throughout the moment they discussed.
Come on, start that. Two different body types. One to me is a better puncher.
True, yes.
Shakur can punch way better to the body than Lomo can.
Loma
He's a
had
totally
more
different type
power
of animal.
at his weight than Shakur has had so
That's
far.
for sure.
At his
And-
weight,
and-
you're saying at his weight.
No, I agree with this. Shakur is longer than Loma and naturally bigger, but you can't say Shakur is ahead of Loma. He has not proven that yet. Maybe he will be, but man, that's a lot. Very few fighters.
He's a great.
Yeah,
So what's your favorite fighter, though, Shady?
Bro,
and still, he's telling you. Right, and he's telling
also
you.
loves Teo.
That's why.
Shady's a big
That's
Teo
why
fan.
one thing about your boy, I keep it 1,000. I don't have no favorites.
You're no
Shakur is my guy. He's my guy.
Max Kellerman explained that the result should not have come as a surprise, reminding viewers that Lopez had already lost to Kambosos, a fighter who is widely seen as far less polished and capable than Stevenson.
Question, even in the loss that he had against Kambosos, where he had a puncture, like he had some medical condition in his esophagus that was dangerous actually, and it looked like an off night. By the way, George Kambosos doesn't like when I say this, and I apologize. I understand it feels unfair to you, and maybe it is.
After the loss, while dealing with a badly bruised eye, Teofimo Lopez openly said his game plan failed, conceded that Stevenson outperformed him, and offered his respect in a composed and sportsmanlike manner.
What's up, man? How you doing,
Your thoughts on tonight?
Just grateful to be here, man. That's all.
You put on a performance tonight and unfortunately came up short, but what was it that surprised you about Shakur Stevenson?
Nothing at all, man. Just didn't come with the right plan. That's all. Better man won tonight. Good fan.
Do you feel like you'd like to run it back at some point with Shakur? I know you're someone that always wants to event it. Like that time Kambosos beat you, you want to event it straight away, right?
We'll see what happens next, man. I'm going to let my team do the work on it.
Ryan Garcia shared his thoughts on X, saying Lopez's approach fell apart and exposed the strategic mistakes that allowed Shakur Stevenson to dictate the bout without much resistance. At the same time, Terence Crawford praised Stevenson, describing him as more than just talented and stating that his complete command of the fight left no room for doubt.
He's great. A lot of people started saying, oh, he's a runner, he's this, he's that. Just to detour people from being excited to see him fight because he's not knocking people out and all that crazy stuff. But they would see why people really don't want to get in the ring with him come tomorrow.
I know you've shared the ring with him, sparring plenty of times. What makes Shakur Stevenson great? What makes him different? What makes him, I don't want to say an ilk of yourself, but in the same kind of era, the Bud Crawford era, he's got a Shakur Stevenson era coming through.
Everything. The offense, the defense, the poise, the rhythm, the distance, the timing, the punch placement, the react time. Like, I can go on and on. You know, the toughness, the grit, the grind. Like, he's amazing, you know. And tomorrow he will.
Wade Pellman suggested that Shakur Stevenson may currently sit at the very top of the sport, pointing out how he dominated Teofimo Lopez from start to finish and made the performance seem easy. At the same time, Andre Ward shared his thoughts on air, commending Stevenson as a world-class fighter and predicting he will continue to prove just how special he is.
You better leave that alone.
What did you think of Shakur's performance
He
tonight?
did what he had to do, man. You know, there's always room for improvement. You know, I think he had a lot of stuff he could have did, but he's so talented and gifted, man. You know, you also got to trust what he's seeing in there. You know, we're on the outside, you know. But I think he put on a tremendous performance. And obviously, you know, the level he's at, you always look for things he could do better, you know.
What did you see from the outside that he might be?
I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, like I think it was a lot of body work and stuff like that he could have touched on, but again, he's in there, you know, so he's seeing stuff, he's feeling the punches. We're not. So you got to trust what he's seeing.
Teofimo just couldn't get going.
Well, he tried to get going. He just wasn't allowed to. So it's just the distance and range that Shakur has just perfected throughout the years, and then making him pay when he does that discourages him to not want to punch anymore. And I think he was out of answers in the first.
He went on to say that Stevenson belongs in the sport's global top tier, placing him among the 4 best fighters in the world, and emphasized that future bouts will continue to confirm his dominance.
I think he didn't really have any answers. When Teo starts doing little certain things with his hands and starts playing the clown game, he out of answers. He's down to just one shot. So Shakur just stayed focused, stayed locked in. And, you know, was at 4 divisions now? 26, 30, 35, 40?
How good is Shakur? I interviewed Terrence Crawford and he said he could be the greatest of all time.
We don't know. He's not done yet. You know, he's not done yet. He's a great for sure. How great, we gonna see. You know, he got a lot. He can box as long as he wants.
Lennox Lewis shared his perspective on how Shakur Stevenson managed the fight against Teofimo Lopez, explaining that dealing with a fighter who moves at that level is incredibly challenging, and that Stevenson's commanding performance was no surprise.
And let me tell you, Shakur moved so well. He won every round, and he was just a step ahead with quickness and just with, you know, just the plan himself. Great plan coming in, and he did well. Congratulations to him.
He won all the rounds? Is that what you're saying? He won all 12 rounds?
Well, maybe he lost one, but he won the majority of rounds.
At what time did you realize that this was just going to be Shakur taking over the whole fight?
After the 4th round.
After the 4th round?
Yeah.
Teofimo, it seems like he couldn't just get it going. Like he just tried differently going up and down. The counters were getting him.
Yeah.
What could he done differently tonight?
I don't know. You know, it's difficult to box against a great mover like that. And, you know, he tried. He definitely tried. His dad was emotional. You know, he wanted him to do better, but, you know, this is boxing.
Keishan Davis said the showing didn't catch him off guard at all, stressing that he had fully expected Shakur to deliver that level of precision and authority in the ring.
I think, like, yeah, he took it out of him.
Nah, I wasn't surprised because the ref kept saying, show me something, Jermaine, show me something. And one time, Jermaine was like, all right, chill. Like, for real. So I wasn't surprised at all. And plus, his eye was shut and bleeding. Like, it was time to stop.
Incredible.
Eddie Hearn gave his thoughts on the fight, explaining that although he believed Shakur would come out on top, the extent of control he showed went well beyond what he had imagined. He praised Stevenson's sharp fundamentals, speed, and total control from start to finish.
He would just be too good. Like he didn't really have to.
Listen, I was fully confident he'd win the fight. I didn't think he'd win it as widely as that. I thought, you know, I mean, look, Teo's a great fighter. He made him look average in there. And that's because Shakur is so good. His IQ is so good. His footwork is so good. I actually think he could have stopped Teo if he would have pushed on the gas a little bit, but didn't need to. It was so easy. He's a 4-division world champion at 28 years of age. Phenomenal.
What was His Excellency saying ringside watching it?
Just that he's so good, you know, and I think sometimes people think that you know, Teo can do a little bit more, but like every time he tried to, he was just getting countered, peppered, and yeah, it was phenomenal to watch.
Conor Benn always managed to come away.
Started on a few people tonight, yeah.
Shakur Stevenson, so I just spoke to him there. He said his style's boring. He said if you like boxing, he gets it, but other than that, it's easy work for him. That fight realistic?
Yeah, why not? Look, for me, I still dream of Conor Benn winning a world title.
Zach Schumacher delivered a nuanced perspective, explaining that while the overall showing is open to debate, Teofimo's determination should not be questioned. He stressed that the sport relies on competitors like Lopez, fighters prepared to push themselves to the limit and give everything they have. Schumacher said Teofimo brought the kind of effort fans hope to see, showing toughness, heart, and a readiness to take chances. That willingness to risk it all, he added, is what gives boxing its meaning and earns respect regardless of the final result. During the contest, Teddy Atlas shared his thoughts in real time and didn't hide his disappointment with the direction of the fight. He described the action as fairly level but lacking excitement, stating that it simply didn't rise to the standard expected. Atlas noted that when a fighter enters with a lot of hype and outside noise, particularly from an outspoken corner, there's an obligation to deliver something more convincing. Although he pointed out that plenty of rounds still remained, he felt the early portion fell short of what was promised. Atlas also mentioned a short head collision, suggesting it was likely caused by Lopez rushing in too forcefully with his head out front. He went on to explain that while judges sometimes favor forward movement, simply coming ahead isn't enough. Pressure has to be smart, controlled, and effective. Without that, it turns into careless aggression that doesn't earn points.
Listen, but what you said, some people said 2-2. I understand. I think it's a shutout. Shakur won this round so far, but a little headbutt there, I guess. A warning from the ref. And that's probably the fault of Teo, to be honest. He's rushing in head heavy, top heavy. But some judges like the aggressor more than the tactician. But for me, it's got to be effective aggression. It can't just be aggression. And a little bit better close to the round by Lopez. That was
it was. He went to the body better. He had a little success with the right hand to the body.
He got his range.
Atlas went on to highlight Shakur Stevenson's mastery over the fight, emphasizing how he controlled distance, landed precise body shots, and used his right hand strategically. He observed that while Teofimo's father could be heard encouraging him to simply land punches on Stevenson, Atlas wished the corner had offered more tactical, detailed guidance, stressing that Lopez needed clearer direction at that stage when breaking down the scoring. Atlas noted that Lopez seemed to improve slightly toward the end of the round, but overall he remained behind. He repeatedly stressed the significance of the jab, pointing out that both fighters know its value, yet Stevenson, who executes it expertly, continued to dominate the tempo and spacing of the match. In Atlas's assessment, Lopez's only chance to stay in contention was to adjust his approach, capitalize on small openings, and find ways to interfere with Stevenson's accuracy.
Terrence Crawford, the great Terrence Crawford, and I think they were making fun, to be honest. I think they were chiding Lopez and his father. I think they were chiding Lopez and his father a little bit.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk before this fight and some nasty stuff said on both sides. But you'd like to think after the fight that they gained some respect and put that to bed. Terrence Crawford doesn't lose, huh?
No, you don't.
Claressa Shields expressed her admiration for Shakur Stevenson after his bout with Teofimo Lopez, noting that his performance went beyond a simple win. It was a definitive demonstration of his superiority. She explained that Stevenson didn't just defeat Lopez, he distinguished himself completely, showing why he is considered among the sport's top fighters. Shields highlighted his precise accuracy, speed, and advanced ring IQ, pointing out that he maintained control over every element of the fight effortlessly. From pacing the action to managing distance, she emphasized that Stevenson commanded the match from start to finish, leaving no question about who was in charge.
I know boxing, and like I told y'all, we was gonna see a little bit of athleticism, but we was gonna see Shakur be using his jab, going to the body, and we saw blood today. Shakur did great today. Only thing I can ask for is a stoppage. I can't ask for nothing else.
What would you think about, obviously, Teo's eye? He never seemed to be able to get into it at all. Is that kind of like the experience you had?
Or he won a round or two, maybe, but that's it. Shakur dominant. He was able to hit him clean first round, able to avoid shots. Shakur just on his A game. He's sharper, he's stronger, he's better, and now he's a 4-division world champion. I'm so proud.
Pauli Malignaggi responded to Shakur Stevenson's showing by describing it as a masterclass in technical skill. He acknowledged that, while he anticipated a strong performance from Stevenson, the way he dominated went far beyond his predictions. Malignaggi noted that he had expected Stevenson to shine on a big night and make the bout look effortless, but the actual display exceeded even those expectations. He further praised Stevenson's top-tier abilities, observing that Teofimo Lopez threw everything he had with minimal effect. Malignaggi emphasized that Stevenson's movement, defensive awareness, and overall approach were on a completely different level, making his control throughout the fight truly extraordinary.
This watch was a freaking masterclass beyond epic proportions. I thought Shakur might do something like this, but even this exceeded my expectations. You know, I thought it may be, if Shakur had a really good night, make it look easy and win 9-3, 10-2. This was 12-0, 11-1, and I mean, it was next level type stuff. Teo was trying everything. The various wrinkles to Shakur's style are unbelievable. I mean, I know people like to say he runs. That's because they don't understand what they're watching. I rarely, in my mind, have I ever seen Shakur literally run. Is he defensive? Yes, because he doesn't open up into crazy offensive routines. Okay, yes, so that makes him defensive, but he never really runs. So he's a master of position. I'm always trying to talk about and explain to people that being a master of position is so important, not breaking your position. And what I mean by that is when you make a defensive move, you're not all over the...
Malignaggi pushed back on claims that Shakur Stevenson runs, arguing that anyone who says that doesn't fully grasp the nuances of boxing. He explained that Stevenson isn't avoiding exchanges. He's operating with precision, control, and expert positioning. Every defensive move is calculated to maintain balance and readiness, preventing opponents from mounting consistent attacks while keeping them uncertain about his next move. He emphasized that true defensive skill lets a fighter remain effective without compromising form or stance. By contrast, less experienced boxers often retreat chaotically or contort themselves just to dodge punches. Stevenson, Malignaggi pointed out, never gives up control, which is what distinguishes genuine mastery from mere survival in the ring.
Position is great. Doesn't necessarily mean you punch every time you make a defensive move, but every defensive move you make leaves you balanced enough and in a position enough to be able to punch if you want to, if you have the option to punch. And your opponent sees that, and that's why your opponent doesn't attack as aggressively, because sometimes they do get countered, sometimes they don't. You keep them guessing, but your position is always a position that you can punch off of. When guys aren't great at position, even when they make guys miss or whatever, they'll wind up in contorted position situations where we're not able to punch. That's not a really great defensive fighter, and a lot of times they wind up running and going to flight and so on and so forth. That leads to those kind of lapses where pressure fighters end up getting to guys. But even if you're not a huge puncher, if you're a master of position, you're always going to have the edge. It's just how much of a master are you going to be. Shakur is a next level master of position. He's a defensive specialist. I think the broadcast made it.
Shakur Stevenson executed a masterful technical performance against Teofimo Lopez, showcasing exceptional precision, timing, and superior ring IQ from start to finish. Right from the opening bell, his jab was sharp and accurate, letting him control distance and set up combinations before Lopez could mount any significant defense. Lopez tried to impose pressure early on, but his attempts were consistently undermined by technical mistakes. He frequently lowered his lead hand, and overreaching created gaps that Stevenson capitalized on with crisp, punishing jabs that landed and reset the action before Lopez had a chance to counter.
The combinations wasn't the most entertaining fight because it was really a slow-paced type of a fight, pop-shotting, kind of in Shakur Stevenson's pace. And Teofimo Lopez needed to do something different in this fight. He needed to get, Shakur out of his character. He needed to push the pace, which he did in round one, but wasn't successful. He was jumping into his punches, lead hand was down, and he was getting clipped with every stiff jab possible. I mean, Shakur Stevenson definitely got one of the best jabs in boxing. I've been saying this for a while now, and it's really due to the snap of the punch and the relaxation. He's so relaxed in the pocket. He's so relaxed in the
pace of the fight worked entirely in Stevenson's favor, as he dictated the tempo with fluid, effortless motion. He didn't have to force confrontations, maintaining solid defense and ideal positioning throughout. His precise timing enabled him to counter cleanly, consistently neutralizing Lopez's pressure attempts. Although the match wasn't non-stop high-intensity action, it perfectly highlighted Stevenson's technical mastery in the ring.
Shout out to Teofimo Lopez. He tried his best. Shout out to Turkey Al-Sheikh for putting on the fight. But this was definitely a masterclass. If anything, Teofimo Lopez might have won one round out of this whole fight. But Shakur, just a masterclass. Now, he calls out Conor Benn. Conor Benn comes into the ring, says, "You too small." But also, Shakur Stevenson says he wants that rehydration clause, the same rehydration clause you put Chris Eubank through. So, I don't know if this fight's going to happen due to the fact that, I don't know if, Conor Benn is really willing to do that, knowing that, Conor Benn is #1 in the WBC, looking for that Ryan Garcia.
That's a wrap for today's breakdown. Stay connected for more updates, and we'll catch you in the next video.